We're talking today about a couple of Italian-American movies and one Mexican-American movie, and they're great, fun, important films. Perhaps we'll start with the most important, and that's Rocky. Rocky's 50 years old, 50 years old. And I've watched it a few times, and I'm sure that a number of your listeners have watched many times. If you haven't watched it before, it's about a small-time boxer who gets a shot at the heavyweight title. Now, I don't know how many times I've seen it over the last 50 years, but everybody thinks he's going to get destroyed. And that person who's going to get destroyed is none other than Sylvester Stallone. But he doesn't get destroyed. He doesn't, far from it. Here's what's remarkable. If you don't know the backstory, it's fascinating. Stallone didn't just star in Rocky, he wrote it. And the studio wanted the money. They wanted the script so badly, they offered serious money. Serious money. There was a catch, though. They didn't want Stallone to play Rocky. They wanted a big name. In 1976, Stallone wasn't a big name. Now he's one of the biggest, one of the greatest. Now, he was that keen, that eager to play, that he was offended by the fact they wanted a name actor. So he said no. He said, no, you can't have my script. He turned down the life-changing money because he believed in himself. And he knew, no one else at the time knew, with the benefit of hindsight, everyone realised he was right. He knew that he was the only person who could play Rocky. So Stallone did a deal. And he took a small upfront payment and gave them the script, and he got to star in the movie. Now, it made $225 million at the box office, which is extraordinary money. It's extraordinary money. And it won Best Picture at the Oscars, and Stallone got nominated for Best Actor and Best Original Screenplay. Pretty amazing stuff, given he'd never done anything. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And he bet on himself, and that's a lesson we can all take from this movie. You bet on yourself, you back yourself. Everyone thought he was crazy, but he knew he had a vision, and he realised that vision. Most people don't act on their belief like Rocky, like Stallone did. You know, it's something that spawned Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, Rocky 5. Forget about those. Forget about them. They're rubbish. Well, Rocky 2's okay. Rocky 2's okay. Rocky 3, 4 and 5 aren't worth the price of admission or watching on streaming. But watch Rocky again. It's 50 years old. And it shows that Stallone is not only a quality actor, but a quality writer. And it's something that's 50 years old. And if we were to talk in 50 years' time, Antonio, we'd be talking about this film again. It will endure because it's a classic. Now, Martin Scorsese, another Italian-American, makes movies, doesn't star in them, or when he stars in them, he does incredibly potent cameos. He's probably a natural actor, but his talent lies in directing. And Scorsese's Goodfellas is 35 years old. I don't know where the time has flown, but 35 years. He's never made a bad movie. Martin Scorsese has never made a bad movie, and he never will. His body of work has arguably secured his status as one of the greatest filmmakers in any language. And if we, you watched a fantastic, that's something we should talk about in a subsequent episode. He's up there with Fellini. He's up there with Ingmar Bergman. He's up there with, he's one of the greatest directors of all time. And proof of that is the 1990 film Goodfellas. Think about who starred in Goodfellas. Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Ray Liotta, Paul Sorvino. Extraordinary cast. He's got this power to bring people to his projects because he's brilliant. And if people were to hop on the internet and type in Goodfellas, people still talk about it 35 years on. 35 years on. That's testament to the quality of the film, that 35 years on, people are still talking about it on the internet. It regularly plays on streaming. It's a classic movie, and it's about Henry Hill. For those of you who haven't seen it or want a refresher or just want to go through the story again, Ray Liotta is Henry Hill, and he's a low-life gangster. They all are, but that's our fascination lies with the fact that they're cattivo, sporco, and bruto. And what it does, it traces his life from the 1960s to the 1980s, and he becomes a rat. He becomes a rat. He turns on everybody and enters the federal witness program. But Goodfellas lets you know what you're in for at the opening. Jimmy Conway, who's Robert De Niro, and Tommy DeVito, who's Joe Pesci, and Hill are on a late night drive, and they break their silence with an act of extraordinary violence. They use a hunting knife and a gun on a made man, and that opens up a roller coaster. Humour, black humour, violence. It's got everything, and the script is something that was rewritten a dozen times. Nick Pileggi and Martin Scorsese put it together. It's packed with incidents that shock and awe. They live an illicit lifestyle, so if you're sensitive, maybe not look at the illicit lifestyle. Maybe close your eyes when it gets brutal and nasty. But they rob Air France. It's one of the most famous heists in history, and everything comes undone after that. So you strive for a good gangster life, living the life, but you always have to pay. You always get caught. That's one thing I found when I was a criminal defence lawyer. I always had work because people get caught. People never get away, never get away. And after the Air France heist, there's the Lufthansa heist. So they plan these great robberies, and of course they come unstuck. And the downfall for Henry Hill is drug usage, always is for gangsters. And basically, what happens is it all comes unstuck. He enters the federal witness program, and Joe Pesci is executed because he's no good. And the script, I can't tell you, if you close your eyes, it's such a good script, you could listen to it as a radio play. That's probably the highest praise I can give of it. And, you know, it might be an enjoyable way to do it because it spares you the graphic violence, but it's a classic film and it's well worth a look. And I can't recommend it highly enough. If you are gangster inclined, you might want to watch Casino afterwards. And there's greatness to be had in Martin Scorsese's films. The third film I want to talk about is a Los Angeles police film, and it's called End of Watch. Now, End of Watch is made by a guy called David Ayer, who's a Mexican-American filmmaker, and it's the man behind Training Day. Denzel Washington won an Academy Award for Training Day. That was a David Ayer film. Now, David Ayer's second best film is End of Watch, and it's extraordinary. It's a buddy film. There's humour, there's love, there's violence. They're two police, rookie police, and they're extraordinary, brave, fearless, and we enter their life through handheld camera, lapel camera, in-car recorder, and we go about as passengers in their car on their daily patrols. And Los Angeles is a very violent city. South Central Los Angeles is a very violent neighbourhood, and they throw themselves into some extreme situations to protect and serve. It's a sympathetic portrayal of police. David Ayer normally has them as corrupt, naughty police, but these men are brave, law-abiding. They shoot in self-defence. They go into burning houses to rescue children. They rescue children from crack dens. They're heroes. They're heroes. And they are Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. Now, they are great dynamic duo, and it's comedy central in the cast. So you've got this juxtaposition of South Central Los Angeles violence and Jake and Michael Pena cracking gags and living a life that they love. They're born to be police, born to be straight police. They're human. There's a humanity about them. They have wives and girlfriends that love them. They're family men, and yet they're capable of putting on the uniform and protecting and serving and putting their lives on the line. They're close friends. They're so close that they often talk about looking after each other's families if one of them is hurt in the line of duty. And South Central Los Angeles is a war zone, and when you're an energetic, fearless policeman. Something's going to give. I won't spoil it, but there is a twist in the movie, and it's enjoyable and it's moving. And I can't recommend it highly enough. The distrust of Los Angeles police is world famous. World famous. Rodney King, the LA riots. The LA police do not enjoy a good reputation, but David Ayer has touched on that in his other movies like Training Day. But End of Watch, he humanises them, and you actually like these police. Now, I was a criminal defence lawyer, so I can understand not liking the police, but I do like these police. They are humanised. They're romanticised, and it's not a bad thing. Sadly, because they're police, their world can be destroyed in an instant. The three films are worth looking at. Goodfellas, great film, lovely, lovely film. End of Watch, and Rocky.